Hi there, welcome back. I'm Shaan from the Velvet Attic. In this video, I would like to show you another striping technique where you can use our new Velvet Attic Vintage painting tape. Our painting tape, as mentioned in the previous video I did, is available in 12mm, 24mm, 48mm, and 72mm for those really big stripes on walls and that. So I'm going to do a little bit of a technique with this and variation with the tape, just to give you some ideas of how you can use the tape in different ways. The previous one I just showed how to make the French grain sack stripes, and I used our Ivoire and our Burgundy for that. So this here is the stripes I did in the previous video with the French grain sack stripes. Ivoire cream was our background and Baroque Burgundy our stripes. And they are absolutely dead straight perfect. And that's the technique I showed in that. So I'm going to show you the same, well not the same, but the similar technique, but doing a variation of using different size tapes, incorporating a stencil, playing with 3 different colors, things you can do with basically our new painting tape. So let's get stuck into this. I've taken a straightforward MDF board, 3mm. It's just easier for me to demo it for you on something flat because the camera is on a tripod, so we don't move it so much. And this board has been prepared with our Velvet Attic Vintage chalk paint, Du Parfum, our dark pink. It's a bit of a dusty pink, very pretty, very popular. We do a lot with this color, so you can see how absolutely beautiful that color is. So that's the color I have base coated the board with, and I've done 2 coats of Du Parfum using a number 12 synthetic nylon brush. I also showed in the previous video all about the brushes and the different sizes we sell, ranging from this being a number 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2. So you can go right down to tiny, tiny little brushes. And these not only for doing your stripes or prepping your boards or anything like that, or your furniture or your boxes, but also you can use them for base coating your embellishments and you know, that kind of thing. So they're versatile. They can be used for a lot of different things. And then of course we do have the bigger one, which is the number 26 synthetic nylon, which you can also use for prepping bigger areas and getting the job done quick. We weren't able to get these for a long time, and we are able to get them at the moment. So they are really stunning to use. So moving on with this, let's get going. I'm going to show you how to basically measure with the tape, and then you don't even need a pencil and ruler. With the French grain sack stripes, I did measure a 4.8mm middle, and that showed us, you know, when I marked both sides, where to join our 12mm, that's the very thin tape, and how to measure from there to get your 2-side narrow stripes. Here I'm going to use a 24mm. Okay, this tape has been used a lot. You're not going to get that. You're going to get 40 meters on a roll. Okay, I've used up a lot of it. So I'm going to take a piece of tape off. Obviously I've made sure my paint is dry, and I just want to make sure I've got enough to just go across my board. Then all I'm going to do is tear it. Remember, our painter's tape is of a very high quality, and you'll find that the adhesive is different to a masking tape. You'll also find as we paint, it doesn't buckle or bubble. It doesn't bleed underneath if you use our technique as well, my technique that I do with it. It won't pull your paint off. And if you are nervous with any surface that hasn't been maybe had the paint cured long enough, and you have to go straight on the stripes, you can always stick your tape down on a piece of cloth, t-shirt, towel, lift it off. You can do it a couple of times. It'll remove some of the excess stick if you're a little bit nervous. Okay, but you can go straight on like this onto our board. So I'm lining up the edge of the board with my tape here. Okay, here and there. I'm just going to fold them while I'm busy with them because it'll just make it easier. So there I have my tape there. Okay, now I'm going to use the 48mm, the 4.8 centimeter width now, because I'm going to be doing a technique with some stenciling. So I'm going to pull that, let's pull it slowly obviously, very much like a paper, it's beautiful. Just make sure you got enough for your board. That down and then tear that across. You can cut it if you want. Okay, I want to put that flush against the end of the previous tape. Okay, I'm not going to fold that one over, you'll see now why. So you can see if I lift it a bit closer, can you see there I've put them next to each other here. There's our 2.4mm up to there, here's our 4.8. Now I'm going to take 2.4 again. I'm going to pull out enough to cover the width. And I'm going to line that up flush with the big tape. Okay, you with me here? This 24mm I'll fold over. Right, so that's what we have there. We've got 24mm, 48mm, a 24mm. The area where I'm going to be stenciling is the broader stripe. So I'm going to pull this one off. Pull it off nice and easy. Okay. And then I'm going to put that on the other side of this tape. Okay. Now you see how I've got the perfect width I needed there. Okay. Back to the 24mm. Get enough tape out that you need. And line up at the end of 48mm and fold that one over. Okay. And then we're going to pull off the 48mm. Okay, so you can see how the stripes are forming there. I'm just going to turn it around now. And I'm going to join in sorry, just had a little roll there. Okay, so I'm going to do again, join it up. This just makes your life so easy, really. It's a little piece of tape, it's not the end of the world. You know, that it's helping you measure and it's done. You don't have to sit with pencils and rulers, and if you're on furniture you don't want to go on to using levelers and carrying on like that. So this just makes life a little easier. Works beautifully for your boxes, trays, sides of boxes, trays. There's our 24mm coming in again. I'm just going to push it in a bit. Okay. 24mm we put underneath. And then I'm going to pull the 48mm off again. Place it there. Now this is what's going to happen when you're on furniture, is it might not all finish off evenly, which is fine, because to be honest with you, I like when you're doing things handmade, they're not going to be absolutely exact perfect, although your stripes will be straight, that's for sure. You'll have perfect stripes there. But in this situation here, your stripes are coming off canvas, in other words. So it'll be finishing off canvas on your piece, furniture piece, or whichever you're using. So I'm still going to take our 24mm. I'm not going to leave it as a fat end. I could use the 12mm because then I don't have to fold it over, but we can just use this. Okay, then line it up here, like so. I'm going to take that one off again. Okay. And then I'm going to just fold it right there. I'm not going to fold this side down, although it's going to make it difficult for removing. So I've basically created my stripes between. So I'm going to have the narrow stripes left in the dusty pink. And this I'm going to now do my contrasting color, and then I'm going to incorporate a stencil. So let me show you how I do that. First of all, you need to make sure that you've rubbed the tape down properly. When you've got one like this, you've got to make sure both sides are down. Now you can do that with your nails, you can do it with the back of a spoon, you can do it with any of those. I love to use the eraser. I just find it works for me. I take an eraser and I just run along my edges there. You can actually see as you rub it, you can see more of the background color and it shows you that it's down. So just rub it down. This makes a big difference too. You do need to do this even if you use masking tape. You have to do this sort of thing, but with the painter's tape it just finalizes it a bit, but you don't have to rub excessively in that. I found before, like when I used to use masking tapes, I had to rub a lot more and I couldn't do a lot of technique over my stripes while the paint was wet because of the buckling of the tape, and of course you get different quality masking tape. So I've rubbed those on. I'm just going to dust off all my shading eraser bits that are left over. Just dust them off your board. Okay. Like that. Those are off. Okay. Alright, so we're good to go. So, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go back to the Parfum, the dark pink. Just take a medium-sized brush. This would be the equivalent of, say, a number 10 with the brown handle. Okay, dampen it. It mustn't be dripping in water, just have a damp brush. Damp brushes prevent skin buildup in your brush from happening faster. In other words, you're not going to build up a lot of paint around the belly section of your brush as quickly as if you'd used a dry brush. And plus you're going to help your paint spread a bit easier. Okay, so the trick with the stripes, which I showed in the previous video, we're going to do that again. Okay, and obviously allow it to dry, but you only have to do this once. So I'm taking the pink and I'm now going to paint my Parfum pink into my tape. So in other words, I'm painting towards the edge of the tape. The reason I'm painting towards the edge of the tape is that if there is any area where paint can bleed through, well, it's going to fill with the base color, isn't it? And that's going to not allow our contrasting color to get in there. And then I just smooth it. Remember, you don't want to do this excessively thick or anything like that. Just paint it in and smooth it. It's going to dry and it'll be fine. But then I'll move in one section, you'll see. So I'm going to do this side the same. You can go over the tape, it's fine. Not going to crinkle and buckle. Right, and on to the next one. So this is actually a quick step, but it's a very, very essential step to creating the perfect stripe or stripes. And then smooth. And remember, you can't get this smoothness with a hardware brush. You need to use a synthetic nylon brush or softer brush. Hog's hair bristles brushes, no. You're going to have streaking. And you don't want streaking. So when you get those stripes through your paint, the reason you're getting them is because of the brush you're using. Use a soft synthetic and you won't have that problem. The number 26 is a wonderful brush for that because it's a big size and you can use it on bigger pieces. And for varnishing, absolutely perfect because you want soft brushes when you varnish. So I'm going to pull those. You can see I'm now coming from the opposite side into the tape. And again. Carry on to the next one. Do you see how you do both sides now, hey? Very important step. Now you're going to allow this to dry properly. It has to dry properly. You do not have to remove the tape while it's wet. This is the beauty of this. Leave the tape on until you are completely finished with your techniques. That's what makes me so excited about this tape, is that I can do a variety of techniques without worrying about the tape bleeding every time underneath and having to remove it while it's wet because one coat dried and now the second coat I tried to do is wet, so it's pulling off, and it is a whole lot of scenarios. This doesn't happen. Okay, close that up. I want to lift this up for you. You can see I've gone over the tape, that's fine. And you can see I haven't painted in the whole section there, it's just up to the tape, each end of the tape. Right, so that needs to dry, so I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, welcome back. We are now officially dried. So where we painted our base color into the background, into the tape, that is now dried for us. So we're going to move on to our contrasting color. So the color combination I decided I would use is something I've used on a piece of furniture that I will also share with you. I just need to finish off the embellishments and attach a handle, and then you can see how lovely the combination works. So I'm working with the same three colors here. They just work beautifully together, and I love the combination. So this is Du Parfum dark pink, basically a dusty dark. And I'm now going to go with our dark brown, which is Art Deco. And we are going to be using Art Deco to paint in the stripes now. So we're going to combine the pink and the brown, which is, some people are horrified, but it actually looks lovely. So we're going to start painting that. So I'm using a bigger brush now, the number 12. And I'm going to start painting the brown. Now remember, you've got to go all the way up to the tape. I'm doing. And it's fine if you paint over the tape, don't stress. Just spread out your paint. That's the most important thing you need to do, because you don't want blobs, thick blobs, and no paint, and smooth it out. Use your brush. Okay, that's the first one done, and then I'm going to carry on and do the rest. Okay, so when we're done with the first coat, you can see there we need one more. That now needs to dry, so I'll be back with you as soon as it's dried. Okay, so we're back. Welcome back, and it's our first coat has dried. So I'm going to apply the second coat now of our Art Deco brown. I haven't rinsed the brush. I just stood it in our brush basin while I waited. It wasn't very long, so that was fine. So I'm going back into the Art Deco, and I'm going to paint our second coat. Hi, so welcome back. Our stripe brown Art Deco has now dried. and you can see it's dry there. The tape is still on. I haven't removed it. I now would like to do a technique over the brown section of stenciling, and I'd like to use one of our beautiful base stencils we sell. So what I'm going to do is just work out how I want to place this. I think that's lovely because we're going to get sections of the flowers and that in the stripe. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to take a small piece of our tape just to hold it in place there. Yes, you can use your masking tape if you don't want to use your painter's tape. I'll just use that. Okay, and this is where I want to now do my stencil. So you can see now I've placed it over the painted surface, over the tape. The tape is still on there. That's important. Don't take it off yet. Okay. And then what I'm going to do with it is I'm now going to be stenciling. Now we sell 5 sizes of stencils, stenciling brushes. We've got a number 0 we sell for smaller stencils. We've got a number 2, slightly bigger. Number 4, which is probably the most popular mid-range size. A number 6 and a number 8. Okay. Now basically these brushes are made in the East. The crimping I wouldn't say is on par with your top artist brushes. So you know, you're going to have the odd hair coming out in the beginning. Once you've really worn it through, then you will find that it's fine and it's not, you know, coming out anymore. You can sometimes play with them like that and just pull out loose hairs. All of these brushes, stencil brushes, I know some of them refer to as stippling brushes, but they're stenciling brushes. They all are going to lose a few hairs. They're made with what they call hog's hair. It's a bristle, and we're basically going to use it dry while we are doing our stenciling. Okay, so the trick with stenciling really is use the biggest brush possible for the area. It's the same as when you float with the angle shader. You want that softness in your stencil. If I go and I stencil this pattern with a number 0, it's going to be a very strong stencil pattern on there. Very intense, that kind of thing. The bigger I go, the softer it's going to be and more powdery looking. So I'm actually going to do this with a number 6 brush. Move those aside. We also have these blending brushes that you can use when you're doing blending techniques. We've got them in a 4 and extra. We've got a 4 and we've got an 8. They work very nicely with the blending techniques on the furniture as well. But we're not using those right now. We're actually using stencil brushes. So, having said that, I'm going to take the number 6, which, as I said to you before, is going to lose a couple of hairs in the beginning. And that is normal. Does that. It's due to the crimping and the hog's hair. Okay. Using a bit of paper towel. My base coat was the Parfum. My stripe was done in the Art Deco brown. So my stenciling is going to be done in my Magie, which is a light cream. But it's a cool cream. It's not a warm color. So it actually works really nicely with the Art Deco, because having it look like our Art Deco is very much like a burnt umber color, but with less red in it. So it's a little bit of a cooler tone. So this works very well with it. This is what I used on that cupboard I mentioned before, which I'll show, finish it up and show pictures of. Now you're going to use your brush dry when you stencil. You're going to get some paint onto your brush. The first loading is your heaviest. You need to work it into the heads. So I've put a whole lot onto my brush that's dry. And then I'm going to work it in. Come to the side a bit here. You can see I'm going to work it into all the bristles around my brush. So this is the heaviest loading you do, your first loading, because you really do need to work that paint in. Okay. Now, if you go on to your stencil and you haven't taken enough paint off here, you're going to get a bleeding effect where it sort of like splurges under the stencil because it's too wet. The trick is this has to be dry enough that you can put a dusting of pigment onto the stencil. If you test it on your hand and it's coming off on your hand and it feels wet, then you need to take more off. Okay, so I'm now going to, this is fine, it's not coming off on my hand there. So this is fine. I'll lift it up for you to actually have a look at the brush. See? Now, I'm going to work in sections. So I'm going to hold it down like so, and I'm going to start going in circles round and round, clockwise and anti-clockwise. If you don't go in both directions, you won't fill the stencil. You'll only have it on one side of your stencil. So work around. You can see I'm starting to get some there. Can you see? Okay, so we're going to continue with that. I'm going to put a bit more paint on so I can go a bit further. Let's carry on. So you just really want to go where the brown paint is. If you're not too sure, you can go a little further, because if you go on the painter's tape, it's not a problem, the painting tape, because you know it's not going to affect it. So just keep going round and round and round and round, clockwise, anti-clockwise, clockwise, anti-clockwise. Stay. Around. So I'm not actually trying to get a solid stencil. Can I put it that way? I just wanted the supple just happening. If I want a solid stencil, I'd obviously stencil, and once I come to the end here, this section should have dried. I can come back again and carry on with it. And there's a few hairs coming out, you see there? They're fine, just dust them off. I'll check Nana under the stencil as well if there's hairs, and I'll just work them out. So if I was now, for example, to lift one side, okay, there's a few hairs. Do you see the stenciling effect I've got on my board? Okay, I just want to finish at the bottom because I'm not done there yet, and then we will move across. Okay, so we want a little bit more up here, a little more down here. And we move along. We'll just carry on until you've done all 4 stripes, or however many stripes you have on your piece. Remember, you got to go clockwise and anti-clockwise if you want to fill a stencil. We have a beautiful range of stencils, over 100 designs. Close to 200 designs. And they are really stunning. We've got a beautiful range of stencils that you can use all for different topics and themes, and of course the lace ones are very pretty as backgrounds too if you do them subtly in the background. This isn't in the background, but I still want it quite subtle and not too harsh, so I'm not going to really do a second coat. I'm just going to do the one coat, and that's enough really. I know a lot of people are teaching this for stenciling. If you've got the time to sit and do that, good luck. But that is not the way you stencil. So that would take hours to complete, and I won't put any student of mine or client of mine through that. So round and round we go. It should be a quick process. It should not be something that takes you absolute hours to do. Because let's be honest, we all don't have that time. You can see I need a little bit more at the top there. Make it a bit stronger. So this lace pattern here of ours is a lace pattern that we also sell. I'll lift it now and we'll do it in A5, A4 and A3s. This is a 30 by 30. Don't worry about all the little hairs. This is the new brush that will do this. Once they're worn in, they're fantastic. Just hang on to them. But remember, your stencil brush, like a dry brush, which is a different brush, will wear down eventually. So it's expected. That's why they're considered cheap and inexpensive brushes, because you're not paying a lot of money for them, because they're going to wear down. They don't obviously put as much into making the brush, therefore it's affordable. What I am going to do now is just lift it. Any hairs I'm going to move out, and then if there is anywhere that looks patchy and it's not even, then I will just lower it and do that section. So just going to lift from one side. There. You can see there's the hairs, a few hairs. Just wipe them off. Lovely. This you're seeing here is the edge of the tape, so don't stress about that. I think if anything, I'm going to put a little bit more here just to strengthen the colour so it looks the same as the other sections. So we're just going to make this a little bit stronger. And you see, if you come in subtle like this with not a lot of paint on your brush, you can always add. But once you come in heavy with a lot of paint, you can't take away. So it's better to build it up to the strength you want it, and you have control then. Otherwise it's going to end up becoming too heavy and you can't remove any. And I will be doing some stencil videos for you guys as well on different techniques that you can do with stenciling. It's really, there's so much you can do. It's like the stripes I'm showing you now. I'm going to do another video for you guys, show you a stunning technique where we're going to use our Magie charcoal grey with white and some techniques, faux technique on it. And yeah, I think we're just about done here. I can't wait to take off the tape. It's a fun part. I love it. Okay, there we go. Now we need to stop. Otherwise I'll keep going. Okay. So, like I said, don't stress about the hairs and things. It's all part of it. Let's get the stencil off. It's the first thing we need to do. Okay, stencil's off. As you can see, there's our stencil. It's beautiful, isn't it? I'm going to move this, and I'm just going to dust off the table. Okay, so now this is like the revealing time. This is the when I do ceramics and you open up the kiln. This is the excitement. Okay, so now I'm going to remove the tape at this stage. Just want to wipe off any of the hairs there. So let's start pulling off tape. So I'm going to remove it. Take it off on the back. Remember what I said, don't rip it off. Pull it slowly and you'll still be pulling, you can see, away from the brown. Okay, when you come between the two browns, just pull straight. Try not to pull to the sides. So you're going to pull it away. How pretty is this going to be? These all become sample boards I hang up in my studios, because remember we only open like 2 Saturdays of the month to the public. That's stockers come and things like that. So there we go, look at that, and perfect, no bleed through. Next one. So you could do a lot. I mean, even on that brown, I think if you use one of our script stencils, we've got a lot of script stencils, different ones, it would look exquisite with script as well. I'd love that as an option as well. Like I said, this one I like to roll it and then pull it up slowly and keep going. And you'll see it's not like masking tape where it's going to tear down the side and then you're trying to pick it off. And because I've worked with masking tape, I know as well what it does. How's that looking? And all done with our new Velvet Attic vintage painting tape. I'm very excited about this tape. It's been a long time coming. Couldn't get things going because of pandemics and lockdowns, but here we have it. So it's very exciting that we can now do this and supply it and share it with you guys. So if you just use the tape, follow the techniques I'm teaching you, you will also have beautiful stripes. Get your feet. And give it fun because it's tucked back. Sorry, I just need to lift it closer to you now. Okay, there we go. Now this side I pull away. And there we have it. How exciting is that? And how beautiful is that? Okay, now I know I will do more to this. I'm not going to leave this just as it is. You see, there is a lot of contrast here between your colors. So I would like to create an idea, or not an idea, an effect, that these don't look like they're floating and they actually get anchored to the surface. Okay, so I'm actually going to show you what I'm going to do here. We'll quickly grab a brush or two and I'll be back now. Hi, okay, I'm back. I just needed to grab something because as I did this and the effect came out, I thought, oh, I know what I want to add more. So I'm going to share that with you while I'm at it. So of course, the creating brain goes mad, as usual. So I'm taking the Art Deco. That's the base color I used on the brown stripe. I'm going to take that and I'm going to float a shadow on my pink next to it to create and join them together so it doesn't look like this has been stuck over and it's floating. I'm going to sort of let them become one. And the only way to do that is to create a shadow, and that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to take an angle shader. You will have seen me use them in other videos. I use them a lot with my floating. This is a 5/8 inch. You could use a 1/2 inch as well. Same rule of thumb as stenciling. Use the biggest brush possible. You'll get the softest float. It's basically a flat shader brush that's been cut off at an angle. So we have a long side, we have a short side, which we call the toe and the heel. Okay. When I load, I'm going to load on the long side, which is the toe. And then I'm going to blend it, but I'm not going to allow the paint to come to the heel side. If that happens, you need to rinse your brush off. So I'm just going to load it and let it blend to transparent on this side. The way we do it is we wet our brush, blot it dry. I'll lift this. I'm going to pick up some brown paint on the toe. I'm then going to come to my paper palette here, which you can just see here in the corner. And I'm now going to start blending it into the hairs of my brush. Same thing, first loading is a heavy loading because you've got to get the color working. I'm going to just put the tip into water so I can just get this paint flowing more. And what I do is I come in soft. If I need to add more, I can come back and do that again over it when it's dry. So make sure you load your brush and you load it properly, because whatever you do here on the palette is going to come out on your piece. Okay, so I've worked it in. Now I'm going to work on this side here. So I'm putting the toe that has the brown against there. Okay, so if you ever watch, you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to be floating the brown up to where the brown starts with the pink. Sorry, I just over. Make sure you can still see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to lift it for you to see. I'm just putting in a little bit of an anchor there. You'll see the effect shortly. Okay, I'm now going to come this side of it. And I'm going to work it across there as well. I love what this has done. Stunning effect, so nice. So you can see when I've done both sides of it. So, and I know it shimmers because it's still wet, but if you can imagine that and you look here, you've created interest, layering, anchoring, it's all happening. Now I wouldn't do this side from here until that one has dried, or you're going to move it. So you get one side done across all of them, and then you come back and do the other sides. Okay, so having said that, I'm going to do all these sides on here. In drier weather, when it's hotter and quite cool, you can also wet the surface first before you do this with water, and it'll just help you that little bit until you get the hang of it. You're actually working the paint across and then you're smoothing it. And you'll notice I load each time, the fresh loading. Now what I'll also do, because we're doing both sides, I'm going to do this end here. You can see the pink and the Art Deco brown, so the Parfum and the Art Deco brown, and then the Magie, which is our light cream. They just look too beautiful. Now I'll come back where it's dry and I'll do the other side. This might make my video a little longer, but I just think it's going to make so much difference. And it's something else you guys can see and learn and maybe give you some ideas and inspiration for a piece. And like I said before, if you've done both sides and you come back to it and you think, I think we need it stronger, wait for it to dry and then just do it again. Second time. At least that way you have control. Don't come in there strong on the first one and then you can't take off. Because you want floats to look soft. Okay, so you can have a look there what I've done. Get a little closer. You see, it just makes that little bit of difference that these don't look like they're floating on top of the pink anymore. They actually look like they're part of it. Okay, and that's what we call floating. You're floating a shadow in there. Okay, so this is another technique, like I said, that I was going to show you with our new painting tape. And I incorporated using two different sizes, basically our 24mm and our 48mm. And then the plan was to do the stenciling on the broader stripe, which you could use other stencils, obviously, scripts and whatever. And then shading in some difference, and obviously the stencil was the combination. So I worked with 3 colors that I just think work really well together, and I think that would look absolutely beautiful even if you did that on the side of a box or a chest or anything like that. Okay, so I hope you've learned lots. I hope this helps you. I hope it inspires you, shows you how to use our new tapes. I'm excited to see what everybody's going to be doing, and of course, once again, creating the perfect stripe without any bleeder through using our tape. It makes your life much, much easier as well. And everybody loves stripes. I love stripes. So until next time, I'm going to be doing another video where I'll be combining our white with our charcoal and doing a faux technique with that to show you how to use our tape there. Okay, so until next time, have fun, happy painting, happy striping. We'll chat soon.